Oh, blue skies. Cloudy and rainy. Man, this weather is all over the place right now. Alright, some of you guys probably think that I'm just as bipolar as the weather here in Finland when it comes to camera decisions and choosing what kind of gear to shoot with. A few weeks ago or months ago, I made a video about me switching camera systems from Canon to Olympus, and now all of a sudden I bought the Canon R5 and I'm back to Canon again. Teppo, make up your mind. Can't you stick to a certain piece of camera gear? And let me explain to you what's been going on behind the scenes and kind of the thought process and thinking behind everything. Now let me explain. Switching over from Canon to Olympus was a bit of an experiment. I wanted to see, is Canon and their camera systems actually the best for my workflow and needs, or is it something I'm just most familiar with and that's why I'm sticking to Canon? Now, before I go into my pros and cons of Olympus and Canon and how I ended up with my final decision, I want to once again reiterate that there is no one camera for one person. There is no one camera that suits all, because we are all different kinds of photographers and filmmakers. We shoot different styles of photography, different styles of filmmaking, and as well, we're at different stages along the journey. You know, for someone, a $500 DSLR camera might work just fine for them, whereas someone else who's shooting in the Hollywood sphere of world and they have a red camera that costs $50,000. They have different needs and they have different purposes for their gear. So that's why there is no one piece of camera gear that suits for all. And that's why, again, I wouldn't want you to listen to my thoughts and be like, oh, I need the R5 as well. But really just hear me out and let me explain just what I've learned over these last few months of switching over to Olympus and shooting with that camera system. Hey guys, sorry for disrupting the video, but I have one small favor to ask from you. If you're new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, just click the subscribe button right now so you can be a part of this community. Thank you so much in advance, and now let's go back to the video. So I switched over from Canon to Olympus, like I mentioned before, just as an experiment. I wanted to see how I would enjoy shooting with Olympus cameras. Now, the first thing that I noticed when I switched over to Olympus was just how fun it was to vlog and shoot with Olympus cameras. They are so small, they are so compact, both their camera bodies and lenses, so they're really enjoyable to shoot with, which is a really nice change for me because I don't like carrying around a bunch of gear, so having a really small, compact body and lens was really nice to shoot with. As well, the Olympus cameras have a great IBIS, other than those few moments where I got that wobbles in the corner, but for the most part, it was really steady, so I didn't need to use any gimbals or any stabilizers when I was vlogging and filming my footage. Lastly, I liked the image quality of the Olympus cameras. The skin tones and everything looked really great, and when you filmed 4K 24 frames per second, the quality was actually really good. The footage was really sharp. Compared to sometimes when you're shooting with the EOS R, when I'm shooting at 1080 24 frames per second, it just doesn't feel so sharp. It's a lot muddier. Some of the challenges though that I did face while shooting with Olympus cameras is that I was kind of stuck with 24 frames per second. When I shot with 60 frames per second, right away the quality dropped a lot. It was a lot muddier, maybe more digital look. So I was avoiding all higher frame rates with Olympus cameras and sticking mostly to 24 frames per second at 4K, which was fine. It was really nice for just storytelling and vlogging, but I definitely didn't have any of that epic B-roll in my videos. Another downside of having the Olympus cameras is that either I'm not used to shooting photos with it, or I just don't enjoy the workflow and editing of Olympus photos. I much more enjoyed shooting and editing Canon photos. So that was what downside for me, because for myself, it's very important to have one camera that can do both photo and video. So who would be the perfect fit for Olympus cameras? I would really suggest Olympus cameras for people who are starting out in the YouTube world, who want to start vlogging and maybe have a price range of maybe $1,000 to $2,000 for a camera body and lens. I think the Olympus cameras are really easy to use, they're really nice for vlogging, really nice for filmmaking. So if you're starting out and you don't have a huge budget yet, I would highly suggest getting Olympus cameras. So back to Canon. Why did I decide to go back to Canon, and why did I buy the Canon R5? Now, you gotta understand a little bit about my background and the needs that I have. I do predominantly wedding photography and filmmaking, travel filmmaking and photography, and as well YouTube content creation. In all these three areas, I need to be constantly shooting both photos and videos, and I really do not want to have two cameras to do that. I don't want to have one camera for photos and one camera for video. And that's what I've been having to do over the last few years. I would shoot with the EOS R to shoot photos and do my YouTube content creation, but then I would use the GH5 to shoot wedding films because I felt like the EOS R just wasn't high enough quality and it didn't have a good enough IBIS to shoot weddings. So I didn't have that one camera that could do all the things that I need. But when the Canon R5 came out and I saw the specs and I've seen some of the test footage, I thought, this is the one camera that fits all of my needs. With the R5, I'll be able to shoot wedding photos and be able to do wedding films. I'll be able to do the wedding films now with R5 because of IBIS and the higher quality in footage, and as well having, for example, 4K 60 frames or 120 frames per second. Now I'll be able to, on my travel films, be able to shoot photos with the R5, but as well shoot really nice, epic, slow motion while you're doing those travel films. And as well, I'll have the IBIS, meaning I don't need to have a gimbal or stabilizer with me. And lastly, YouTube content creation. I'll have a camera that I can shoot thumbnails with and all the other things I need photo-wise when it comes to YouTube content creation, but as well, a camera that I can vlog with. A flip LCD screen, IBIS, high quality content, fast, reliable, autofocus. Really, for my needs, it has everything in one package. I can do all the photo work I need and also the video work. Now, right now, a lot of you guys are probably thinking, oh shoot, he's so right, I gotta get the R5 as well. And I'm gonna say, no, you don't need to get the R5. Hear me out. There is no one camera that works for everybody, and you gotta think about what are your needs and what stage of photography or filmmaking you're at. For example, if I was just starting out as a photographer or filmmaker, I would definitely not buy the R5 because that would break my bank and it just wouldn't be financially responsible. But for myself, who does photo and video content creation as a full-time job, I can justify spending those few thousands of dollars for a new camera body that's gonna help me better create photos and video. It's gonna really help me ease the process and maybe just lower the amount of stress and also physical strain on my back, meaning I don't need to carry a bunch of gear. I can just have the Canon R5 only. So please don't fall into the trap that I need that certain piece of gear in order to create certain kind of photos or video. Please don't fall into that. Of course, certain types of gear will make it easier probably for you or more convenient, but with whatever kind of camera you have, you can create great content, and it's not really actually down to the gear that you're using. So please, if you're starting out photography or filmmaking, don't get upset or don't get defeated feeling like, well, I'll never be able to create videos or photos like that person because he has that kind of camera. Instead, just keep practicing, keep working hard, get creative, use the available light, and you will be able to create great content yourself, no matter what the gear is. All right, so I hope that this explains a little bit my journey from going from Canon to Olympus and back to Canon. No, I'm not bipolar. There is actually a lot of thought behind the decisions that I'm making. I'm still waiting for my Canon R5 to arrive. I think they said July 30th it should ship out. So I'm very pumped to be getting the R5 soon, and I'll definitely be putting out some reviews on the camera and just talking about the things that I've been enjoying or not enjoying with the camera. Who knows, there might be some downsides as well. All right, guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and comment below what you think about all the things I just talked about in this video. And as well, just want to wish you a fantastic week.
Yeah.